Welcome to Breaking the Chains Repatriation Journey. I am your host, Bakita, and today I have Karen in Kenya. Karen, would you please introduce yourself?
Well, first of all, Bequita, thank you so much for having me on your channel. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, so just to tell you a little bit about myself, of course, my name is Karen. I am from New Orleans, Louisiana, born and bred from New Orleans, Louisiana, Algiers. I'm from an area called Algiers. That's on the West Bank in New Orleans. I am a psychotherapist. I'm also a life coach and I'm a spiritual coach. I have a virtual private practice called Infinity 8. And I have also just launched my spiritual life coaching practice, The Goddess Within. So, yes, so that's a little bit about me. I have expatriated to Kenya or repatriated or however you want to say it to Kenya. I've been here on the continent for about maybe a little bit over 3 months, but this is not my first time on the continent. I've been to South Africa and I've also lived in Ansbach, Germany in my younger years. So that's just a little bit about me.
Okay, so here we are. You're a psychotherapist. I know you make really good money in America. Let's just keep it real. I'm sure you had a pretty good lifestyle here. Why? Why would you leave what they say is the greatest country in the world?
Okay, yeah. And so first of all, that's a myth about America being the greatest country in the world and the most powerful country in the world. Okay. And so I can go on and on and on about that. But if we're talking about materialism and that sort of thing, yes, America has, a lot of amenities as it relates to material gain and that sort of thing. But we know that in order for us to be happy and to have a good quality of life, it takes more than material gain. So to answer your question in a nutshell, I wasn't happy there. I was not happy in America. And I had to face my own truth. I tell clients all the time to live in their truth. And when I had a very good life in America. I was able to accomplish, all the things that I really wanted to accomplish, even being a therapist and having, a private practice on the ground and that sort of thing. So there were some things that I was able to accomplish, but I wasn't happy. Okay, because we're living in an environment of racism, police brutality, right? Capitalism on steroids is what I call it. Capitalism, there's nothing wrong with capitalism in and of itself, but in America, it's capitalism on steroids. It's like everything is about money to where there is really no good quality of life. So you wake up in the morning, you go to work, you're grinding, you're coming home, you don't have enough energy to even spend time with your family, to spend time with your children. Everything is a grind. And so we grind so much in America to where we do not even have the opportunity to live. It's like we exist, but we're not really living in America. It's about work, 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 work. And so this journey did not start for me, when Donald Trump was in office, right? And so this pull have been in me for a very long time. And so now with COVID and that sort of thing, it moved up my goal 5 years.
Wow.
So because it moved up my goal, because I had always said that I wanted to go virtual. I was going to have a virtual private practice, all those things. But I thought I was going to turn my practice into a group practice and then I can just go and travel. Well, I said, I'll give myself 5 years. Well, when COVID hit, of course, I had to close my practice. And that moved all of my clients online. I was upset about that for about maybe 5 minutes until Spirit was like, Are you serious? Like you can pick up your laptop now,
right now,
and this is a small window of opportunity that you have. So you're either gonna hold it or fold it. What you about to do, right? And so I was like, okay, this is my time. And I had already started doing research and that sort of thing. And so it's just all lined up for me. But a few years, prior, I was so frustrated with the system. Just so frustrated. And so sometimes we get comfortable living in trauma. I wasn't comfortable living in that trauma. I was not comfortable. I wasn't comfortable being in a space where my people have to march and demand equality, right? Who are they that I have to beg to sit at their table? Okay. When I can create my own table.
Okay.
Right. Yes. And so I just got tired of that because I know that God has created us to be a powerful people. Absolutely. From the beginning of time. Right. Absolutely. We are a powerful people. And so it's almost like we are people that's destined for greatness, but we're living in defeat.
Yeah.
We're destined for greatness as a people, but we're living in defeat and, in America. So I just got tired of it. And so what I did, I tried to come off grid. So I moved to the country. I left the city. I moved to the country, got me some chickens, had my garden, started me a little homestead. I wanted to get me some goats. Okay. I hadn't got my goats yet, but I got my chickens and my garden just to kind of come off grid a little bit.
Right.
Because I was just frustrated with the system. So after being in the country, for a while, I still wasn't happy.
Yeah.
It settled me for a moment, but I was still attached to that system. Yeah. Okay. And I still wasn't happy. And so with me moving to the country and living that simple life, it prepared me for this day.
Yeah.
Okay. It prepared me for this. And so I started, a few years ago, coming off grid a little bit. And then finally, when my window of opportunity came, I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. I'm going to be with my people. Yeah.
Now, it's 150. No, it's 54 countries.
Yes.
On the continent, and a bunch of islands. You've been to South Africa. What was it about Kenya that made you say this is the place that I'll move to?
Okay, so before I made the decision for Kenya, I have to tell people this because this is important. At first, when I first started doing my doing my research and that sort of thing, I was like, I'm going to the Gambia. I'm going to the Gambia because you had these popular YouTubers popping up, which that wasn't my first time. Looking at YouTube videos about the continent. Actually, Caitlin from Namibia was my first YouTuber that I started looking at.
Yeah.
And but then the Gambia, everybody's going. I'm like, I'm going to the Gambia. So when I saw them chickens going in the beauty shop on one of them videos, and I was like, girl, you are not going to the Gambia. Like, you're just not going. You're not going because I have chickens. So I know what chickens do when they're walking around and all this stuff. So I was like, girl, you're not going to the Gambia. But I was beginning to feel pulled towards East Africa. Okay. And so Tanzania was on my list. So I had, again, I tell people, be real with yourself. Yeah. Know what you need to survive in a country and know what you need to be happy. You really have to do your work before you make this decision, right? Don't go by what YouTubers say. You get your information from YouTubers, but you really have to evaluate your life and decide what you want. Absolutely. So I know I work online. I know that I need to have excellent internet to make a living.
Yes.
It can't be internet that's up, down, or, doing all these things. It can't cut off, all the time. My electricity can't cut off all the time because it's a part of my livelihood. And so the work that I do, I'm not doing data entry, or I'm not doing something where it's like, okay, it can wait. I can have a client that's crying. We're in the middle of a breakthrough, right? And so I can't afford for the internet to keep, going down. So after doing my research, Kenya has the best internet. Over here. Yes. And so I'm like, okay, they got the beach, they have the internet. That's what I'm needing. It's you have some places that's not developed, which I'm cool with that, right? Mm-hmm. So I can still go to the villages if I want to. I can still drive down the street and see cows in the middle of the street, or see goat in the middle of the street, right? But at the same time, I have easy access to the amenities that I may need as well.
Right.
So Kenya it checked off all the boxes on my list. It did. It checked off all the boxes. Like, I'm like, okay, because I am, a country type girl as well, right?
Yeah.
And so I can roll with professionalism, but then I can roll and we in the garden, or we dealing with these chickens, or so I like that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so Kenya offers all of it. So Kenya checked off all my boxes. Yeah.
Wow. So was this your first time going to Kenya?
Yes.
Whoa. So you just said, okay, Kenya they got what I need. I'm headed to Kenya.
Yes.
Okay.
And had never been to Kenya.
So you've never been to Kenya before, and you decide you're moving there. What was it like when you got off the plane and said, okay, I'm in Kenya.
Well, when I first got off the plane, because I had to go through Amsterdam. When I first booked my ticket, I was supposed to take that direct flight from New York straight to Nairobi. Mm-hmm. Well, Kenya Airways, they weren't flying that flight yet, although they were, they were selling the tickets, but with the virus and all of that stuff coming up, so they had to cancel some of those flights.
Okay.
So I had to go through Amsterdam. So I'm tired, really, after, I'm traveling, for like maybe 2 days or so. So I land in Nairobi like late at night. So it was like maybe 11 o'clock at night or something like that. So I had an Airbnb book. So I only had enough time to spend a night in Nairobi. And then I had to go back on the plane. Like, I had to be at the airport like by 8 o'clock that morning, 7 o'clock that morning. Because when I started in Kenya, I started on the coast.
Okay.
I went straight to Diani, Mombasa, and then Diani. Yeah, so I started off on the coast of Kenya.
That's a good way to start.
Yes. It was like a long vacation. I mean, I loved it. And so the next morning, I'm still kind of tired. And so I'm sitting in the car, like, I don't know. I see all of, the people with tuk-tuks and all that. So I'm like, I don't know. Did I make the right decision? I had that feeling. Did I make the right decision? So I got on the plane. And I'm sitting next to this guy. He was like an Arabian guy, right? And so I'm looking out the window, and he must have saw the look on my face because I was in awe. So I saw Mount Kilimanjaro. Mount Kilimanjaro is actually in Tanzania, but you can see it from the flight. And it looked like a beast. It was almost like you looking at God. I was like, oh, wow. And so my energy just started shifting. And by the time we landed in Mombasa, I was like, yes, this is it. This is it. The people were so nice. Like, I felt like home. And when you land on a continent, you go from a minority to a majority, just like
instantly.
Instantly, you are the majority, and people don't realize that energy shift. See, it's all about
so good.
Yes, and so people don't know, like, Africa is a vibe. You have to feel it. It's not about seeing it or beautiful buildings or buildings falling down or cows, but it's a feeling, and that's why you can see some people. You can do a video. And they can be standing in the front of a building that's falling down. And they're like, this place is beautiful. Yes.
And I think, oh man, I never even thought about that part of it, because it does feel, it is that you can see somebody just walking through in Ghana, we call it Zongo, like the ghetto, and they just is happy. This place is so beautiful. And all you see is like dilapidated homes and stuff behind you, but you're like, so you looking at it like, what? It's so beautiful. It's the vibe that's beautiful.
That's what it is. It's a feeling. It's the environment. That's why when you change your environment, you can change your life.
Yes.
Okay. When you change your environment, you can change, because there's like an energy shift. It's an energy shift. And it's just not, it's, you know, I remember the first night in Mombasa, and I was in the bed, and it felt like I was laying in that bed, but it felt like the world was just spinning. It was almost like my body had to catch up with the energy that was that frequency.
I know exactly what you mean.
You know, because I was like, what is going on? It was like my body has, it was like it has to recalibrate itself.
Yes, recalibrate.
Because it's a different frequency here.
I swear to you, I just spoke with a gentleman, and he said to me, he said, when we come back to Africa, it's like we're recalibrating our DNA.
Yes. Woo! Yes, and that's it. That's it. Because I think I had put I posted a picture on my Facebook page. I think I had on a yellow dress, and I posted recalibration. Yes. On my Facebook, it's one of the first pictures. It said recalibrate, because it's like your body is recalibrating. Like it has to get adjusted to this vibe. And it's almost like it rolls fast, yet slow here.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
I can't describe it. It's like time goes fast and slow at the same
time. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. It's so unexplainable, but
yes,
when you know. So for those who are watching, if you want to understand, like, you just need to at least take a visit and see what it is that we're talking about. Now, you are an ordained minister.
Mm-hmm. I am.
I watched a video of yours that spoke way down in my spirit.
Okay.
And you talked about how, you know, your journey started back in like 2004.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, you really had to strip away some things that weren't serving you anymore. Mm-hmm. And it really, for me, I kind of felt like, well, I've been on that same journey where, as a believer, I believe in God, and I believe in Christ, but I believe in him in a different way.
Yeah.
And the way you explained that, it just really just made me realize that what I had been feeling and what I had been saying, because I say that to people all the time. I believe in God. I just believe in God in a different way. Mm-hmm. I've taken God out of the box that we put him in.
Yeah.
And could you just talk a little bit about your journey of going from being religious to being spiritually evolved?
Okay. So let me say, most of us, before I'm speaking from, I'm talking about Christianity in the church, okay? Because I know you may have some listeners that don't have that background, so I just want to be clear that this is the perspective that I'm coming from.
Okay.
So most people who accept Christ and they're ready to go to church, most people have the encounter to want to be spiritual. And that's what leads them to go to church. But what happens is people have the desire to be spiritual and to have a true, authentic relationship with God. But when they get to the church, they learn how to do church. They learn the rules and the regulations and, the right things to say, going to Sunday school. I'm gonna throw you in the choir so you can sing in the choir. You know how to, stand up, lift your hands, give God some praise, turn to your neighbor and say, ain't God all right? Yeah, ain't God all right? Turn to your other neighbor, ain't he all right? Oh, ain't he all right? So you begin to learn the lingo.
Yeah.
Then you begin to have your favorite personalities as the pastor, and you fall in love with the pastor. You fall in love with, oh, my church this, or oh, my church that, right?
Yes.
And so we become so infatuated by all of those things to where we lose focus of our original intent for going in the first place.
Yes.
Okay. And so we're all spiritual that's housed in this earthly body.
Right.
We are spiritual, and everything that we do is spiritual. And so for me, with being in the church, I started going to church when I was 9 years old. A lady in the Fisher Projects, New Orleans, Louisiana, Miss Fannie Mae Banks, took me to church. I got baptized. I did all of those things, and so I learned how to do church. When I got older, of course, you fall out and then you go back in. So when I went back in, I have always been a spiritual person, even in church. Everybody that goes to church is not spiritual.
Absolutely.
And everyone who's spiritual don't go to church.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I've always had that, that thing. But me too, I've gotten caught up in the church work, right? Mm-hmm. Or had to be a part of that where, you do have to go along, to get along, right? Mm-hmm. Now, I have done a lot of things in church, when you talk about casting out demons, speaking in tongues, all of those things. Is it to say that those things were not true when I did it in church? No, absolutely not. I'm not saying that. But the point that I got to was it became so mundane for me.
Yeah.
Stand up, clap your hands, give your tithe, give your up. It became, I sat there and I began to say, it's more to it than this.
It's gotta be more to it than this.
It's more to it than this. It's deeper than this. It's just not. And so I struggled with that for years and I can articulate it now. But when you are indoctrinated into the church, like I was indoctrinated into the church and an ordained minister, right?
Right.
And so when you're indoctrinated, I was, you don't just go to your amazing pastor and say, what you preaching ain't hitting. Not when you under a pastor that's like that's in a great pastor, good preacher, everything. How do you formulate that I'm sitting here and I'm seeing everything that's going on, but it's not hitting me because I know it's deeper than this. It's deeper than church, right? And so that's when my journey began. And so I lived in Memphis at the time. And so when I made the decision to leave, I actually went on what you call a sabbatical. That's like time out, take a little break. Yeah. So I went on a sabbatical. Meantime, in the midst of the sabbatical, that was like around 2008 when the market crashed and all that stuff was going on. I had lost my job in Memphis, and just so happened I wound up getting the same position in New Orleans, and I moved back home. So being back in New Orleans, and I'm like, okay, you're an ordained minister. It was still a struggle. You're an ordained minister. You're supposed to be in church. You're supposed to have a covering. You're supposed to, and I struggled probably for another maybe 2 years in New Orleans fighting that battle. But I remember backing up. I remember sitting in the pulpit and I said, and tears was rolling down my face. This is when I was in Memphis. And I said, God, I don't care if it's me on one side of the street and everybody else is on the other side of the street. As long as I know that you are with me, I'll do it. Amen. That's when God put my feet to the fire, because that's when I started my spiritual journey. Wow. I battled it for about another year, and then I left the church.
Wow.
I left the church. You don't know how, and see, everybody's kind of doing it now, but when I did it, it was a very lonely journey.
Yeah.
Because nobody understood. And who am I going to talk to about this? Because I had a lot of church friends, minister friends. You know what they would have said? Oh, that's the devil. The devil is tricking you. The devil is fooling you. That's not God. When I knew it was God.
Yeah. So how do you, I see you're wearing an ankh.
Mm-hmm.
How do you reconcile your past, what you believed in all your life, and now coming into your new understanding of God? I know for me, I have like several things that I think, I'm trying to be diplomatic about it. I don't want to offend nobody. So there are certain things that I believe in. I believe in Jesus, and I believe in other stuff too. Some people consider that not Christ-like.
It's demonic. It's demonic, right? So let me how I reconcile it. You do not denounce your Christianity.
Right.
You do not have to denounce your Christianity, but what you have to do is understand your Christianity deeper than church.
Right.
Okay. So how I reconcile, first of all, when you start with our people, okay, when you start looking at the first civilization, right? Mm-hmm. There was a spiritual system in place before Christ.
Right.
They believed in God before Christ, right?
Before Christ.
Before the Greeks came along, before the Romans and the Greeks, right? There was a spiritual system in place. And so doing your research and understanding what that spiritual system is. So when I left the church, I had to unlearn how I was taught it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily what was taught, but how it was taught.
Yeah.
Right. And so one of the things that helped me is, and people don't understand this when I say, stop thanking Jesus. So your average Christian was like, what? What you mean? Stop thinking? Because I would be that one, because I was a very dogmatic preacher. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
You going to hell, right? And so when I say stop thanking Jesus, when I'm talking spirituality, Jesus, it's almost, let me give you an example, Bequita. If I gave you a plane ticket, and I say, take this plane ticket and it's free of charge, you and your family go to Africa, all expense paid. But the stipulation is you have to get on the plane tomorrow. Don't worry about home. All that stuff is taken care of. Free, all expense paid. Here's the ticket, but you got to get on the plane tomorrow, right? And you're sitting there and you said, Karen, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The next day comes. Thank you. Because see, I don't know what my family would have done. You still thanking me. Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you. And you missed the plane. Because you're so busy still thanking me, you're not receiving the benefits that I gave you. You are not partaking in the benefits of the gift that I gave you because you're too busy standing up thanking me. See, Jesus died. When we start talking about that, why did he do it? Why was the veil ripped? For us to be free and to experience God at a whole nother level, a deeper level where there's freedom.
Yes.
But you standing at the cross thanking me, and you're not even partaking in what I died for.
Wow.
Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why I said you don't denounce it, but you need to go deeper.
Wow. So you just gave me this image in my head of us sitting here in America We're praising God. We're thanking Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus, for dying for us. You died for me to be free, yet I still choose to live in oppression.
Thank you.
Whoa.
Most of your mega churches have crack houses still around it.
Whoa. See, this is the kind of work we got to do, because while I am on my, I've been doing this thing back and forth for about 10 years now. It's a whole nother thing when you start really breaking down and getting all the way into it. You got to get deeper into it.
And that's what I'm doing on my Goddess Within Patreon. It's my it's teaching this, because there are so many people who's where I was them years ago by myself. Because let me tell you especially people who's in church. So when you know that there's something else and you try to stick your toe outside the church, you may have a Hebrew Israelite brother saying, see, y'all stupid. Y'all believing in that white Jesus. Da, 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 da. When so many churches don't even believe in a white Jesus. There's not even a white Jesus picture on the wall, right?
Absolutely.
Or there's this other extreme, where it's like witchcraft. And so a Christian, guess what's going to happen? It's like, I ain't coming out there with all of that foolishness.
Right.
These people are crazy, because there was really there's really no bridge from church to spirituality.
No,
because honestly, the church is really supposed to be that place where we practice our spirituality. I believe that we should be spiritual first, then choose what religion works for you. That's my belief.
I totally
spirituality agree. First, then choose which religion resonates.
I totally agree. I mean, because the way it's set up right now, you just kind of have to take a running start and just jump and let God catch you wherever he catch you at. Because like for me, growing up in South Florida, then as a young adult, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. There's a lot of noise. And I started my journey when I was 19 years old. I started my spirituality journey. And it was, believe it or not, it was while I was in college. It was a anthropology course that I was taking, because I was pre-med at the time. And I was taking an anthropology course, and I was already struggling with it actually started, let me back up. It started when I was like 15.
Okay.
When I told my mom, because the pastor, my aunt was like a missionary, and I used to sit between my aunt and some of the deaconess in church, and so I could hear all of what they were talking about. And I was like, this is not the move. I was 15 years old. I never forget. And I remember looking at that pastor up there, and they was talking about how he was sleeping with such and such and such, and this one got it. And I'm like, what am I coming up here for? And I came and told my mama, I was like, I'm not going to church no more. Them people crazy. And at 19, when I was in this anthropology course, I had already been struggling with my beliefs and stuff. And there was a topic. We had to pick a topic the first day of class. It said evolution versus creationism. And I chose it. It was the first thing I saw, but it was way down in the list. And I did a paper on it, and it really just opened me up. And I started this, I really dove down the rabbit hole trying to find myself spiritually outside of religion. Literally, I was this close to being an atheist. It was just that I was like there. And then the way God would have it, I went and I studied all of this different stuff. And then I ended up right back with the Bible sitting in front of me. Like, okay, I done read all that stuff. I ain't really read this thing for myself. Let me dig a little deeper into this. That I believe was the catalyst that got me on this journey to actually move to Africa. Knowing that I wanted to be around my people. I needed to be free.
Yeah.
And I don't feel free here. Like, even now that I'm here, I've been here for a year, and I just feel so trapped. It feels like I literally feel like I got a ball and chain around my ankle. And I'm like, you do not have a ball and chain around your ankle. Let it, you don't. Like, mentally, you gotta like really like cut that loose. You don't have that. You got a passport, you got a plan, you got to work this plan for you and me and my husband working this plan for me, for us and these 4 children. And we just have to stay at it, and we have to pray daily. And because the level of oppression that you feel once you've been out and you come back in, if people think they feel oppressed and they've never left here, leave out of here and come back.
Yeah. Oh,
leave up out of here and come back.
Yeah.
I can promise you, you're gonna try to do everything you can to get up out of here and stay. Because right now, when
you taste freedom, it's hard.
Baby, when I tell you, when you taste it, and I'm talking about literally, I remember being in Ghana, and there was a time where I wouldn't know what day it was. I ain't know what day it was. I wasn't a morning person, but when I got there, I'm waking up 6 o'clock in the morning. No problem.
Your life changed. Yes. You do things.
It's just wild. So seeing somebody who has gone through this same journey, and even on another level, because being a minister and being, like you said, very indoctrinated, I'm sure it took you even more work to peel back those layers of indoctrination and oppression, and really be able to see God for who he or she is, depending on the day.
Right. You said something right then and there, because it depends on what I need God for. I may need God as mother. When I said and father, so when I need the feminine side of God, because there is a feminine side of God.
Absolutely.
God is feminine and masculine.
God is balanced.
Right. Like Mayat, when you talk about being balanced, right?
Yes.
And so when you talk, so God is also, when I need that feminine aspect, I say divinity rules. But that's just me. See, the beauty of freedom is I don't have to do it how somebody tell me I'm supposed to do it.
Exactly.
I have direct access to the Most High.
Exactly. That's why the veil was ripped.
Yes. Now you see.
I don't need nobody to come to God for me. I don't need you to intercess for me. I'm able to have my own personal dialogue with God. And I knew when I stepped off the plane in Ghana in 2011, God said to me immediately, it was dark when I got there. So there was no way for me to just be like, oh, it's so beautiful. The vibe was beautiful. And as soon as I stepped off the plane, God said to me, you're going to move here.
Wow.
And I just started crying. So having you and other people who are therapists that look like us to make this journey, to me, it's even more of a validation of why and how this is a real need for a lot of us. Everybody ain't gonna move to Africa. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But for those of us who feel that pull, we need to do the work first. So there are people like you, like Dr. Sanjay, and Dr. Valeria is, you all are vitally important to this journey for us, because I tell people all the time, if you're running from something in America, when you move to Africa, you're going to run slap into yourself. And all of those issues that you thought was just America, all of those things that you thought it was just America, then you got to really sit with them. So it can put you in a situation where nowhere you go will be good. And if that's the case, you might as well go back to, you're gonna feel like I might as well go back the way I came.
Go back to America, yeah.
Because so you got to do the work first, and that brings me to your services. You are a spiritual life coach.
Yes.
And
spiritual life coach
therapist,
and a psychotherapist or clinical therapist, however you
therapist.
refer to it.
And people, y'all need to reach out. This is the second psychotherapist I've had on this channel. Pick up the hint, y'all. Do the work. And it don't mean you crazy. It don't mean something wrong with you. It means that you want to be a better you for yourself and for your family. If you the same, you said something on one of your videos that I watched. If you're the same person that you were 10 years ago, 5 years ago, last year,
you're losing.
6 months ago, you losing.
Yes.
You gotta work on yourself. Because if you don't work on yourself, it don't matter. You can move to Timbuktu.
Right.
And it won't matter. It won't matter.
Right.
I mean, you literally could move to Timbuktu, but even if you did, it wouldn't matter if you're not doing the work that you need to do. So you need to. This is going to be the second psychotherapist that I'm giving y'all access to, so you can choose to whoever fits your vibe. Reach out to them. Start having these conversations. Start actually doing the work that it'll take so that your transition into the continent will be easier.
And something that you said just because it doesn't mean you're crazy or anything like that. And so that's that stigma that we have on our community. Now we're a lot further along than where we were. Right. But when you talk about being crazy, so all of us as psychotherapists, all of us have our niche, and we have certain things that we specialize in. Some of them, some of us specialize in trauma, or some of us may, specialize in, clients, who have personality disorders, right? So one of the things that I specialize in is adjustment disorder. And so a lot of people don't understand what adjustment disorder is, right? And so people who have adjustment disorder could be experiencing anxiety and depression. So adjustment disorder is a clinical term for, I had a bad breakup. My heart got broken. I can't function at work like I used to. I'm having these crying spells. I keep thinking about him over and over and over again. I'm wondering what I did wrong for the relationship to end. Yeah. I can't function. I don't know. I can't be there for my kids like I want to, right? My emotions are all over the place. 1 minute I'm crying. The next minute I'm angry. The next minute, that's adjustment disorder. When we go through bad breakups and it's hard for us to adjust back to life, right? We don't realize that's a mental health diagnosis. You don't have to have schizophrenia. If you have the death of a loved one, if you lost your mom or you lost your sister or a friend or whoever, right? and your emotions are all over the place. You're grieving, you're crying, you don't know how to get past it. You can't talk to your family members because they think after the funeral, you should be over it, right? That's adjustment disorder from grief and loss. You done had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
You done went through a divorce and you're having anxiety and depression because of it. You moved to the continent of Africa and you know it was the right choice, but now since I'm here, why am I feeling so sad and homesick?
I was just about to say that you're going to need a little therapy to when you're trying to adjust to this new life also.
Yes, that's adjustment disorder. And so that's what I specialize in. So when people come to the continent, you know, although, because you can have good stress, new marriage, you can have adjustment disorder after having a baby or being married, being a newlywed, right? Okay. And so you sometimes you need to talk through that. It's not that you made a mistake. It's just that now you're trying to figure out how to adjust to this new way of life. And you do have to kind of start building your new normal, because you're like, you know, and it's almost like you're in this forest, you know, and it's like, I don't know my way. I can't see my way because your life don't look the same anymore. So you have to adjust back to your new life, adjust to your new life. And so that's what I help expats do, you know, to adjust to your new way of living. And even before you leave America, I work with people for here. Because you cannot have an unrealistic expectation coming to Africa. Unrealistic expectation creates suffering inside of you. So when you come to Africa, and I think we talked about this, don't come to Africa saying Black power, me and my people understand we Black power and we about to stand up against the white man together, you know. No, don't work like that.
Down like that.
Because most of our brothers and sisters on the continent don't understand our struggle the way that we do.
No, they don't.
And we have to have compassion for that. They were going through their own thing.
Colonization.
Yes, they were being colonized. So we cannot expect them to get it the way that we get it, because we're the ones who lived it.
Exactly.
They don't understand the transatlantic slave trade the way that we do.
The way that we do.
Most of them, right? We are very passionate about this thing. We function as if it happened yesterday.
Literally, let me tell you something. You're good. I'm not even in therapy, but I feel like I'm in therapy right now. Like literally, I just had a conversation when I was talking to this brother the other day. We were talking about it and he was just like describing how the same thing that you're saying, like people don't understand, like people coming and taking us from the north of Ghana and taking us through this. And he was just explaining it all down to the last bath and getting on and I literally felt like that jump just happened yesterday. Mm-hmm. And it felt like it happened to me.
Because it's vibrating, like we're the descendants of those Africans.
Exactly. So, you know, to have someone who understands, who has experienced this, and now is living in Africa and understanding the different things that you go through, adjusting to living in Africa, is really important. And to switch gears a little bit, I was watching one of your videos and you were talking about your quality of life and how this works. Like I swear, you just really talk to my spirit because even though I'm a wife and a mother, I don't really feel all this domestic stuff. And it don't, and I have felt bad about that. I felt really bad about the fact that I don't like cleaning up. I only like to cook when I feel like doing it. And I'd rather spend more time being a mother to my kids than doing all that. Because here you don't really have the time. You go to work, they go to school, you go to, all of these things, your husband go to work, you rarely even spend any time together. And then I got to Africa, I got to Ghana, and just being honest, when I first got, I couldn't take house help because here I wasn't, it just, from being from here, it just really, I couldn't reconcile. How could I do that when I used to go to with my aunt when she would clean up white people's house and I played with the kids, and I remember then that it just didn't feel right to me. So how could I do that? But fast forward a few years later, I'm living in Guinea, starting a business, and I needed to have house help. And I hired somebody. She did my shopping. She cleaned up twice a week, Tuesday and Thursday. And she would come and wash my clothes and hang out my clothes for me and do the cleaning up and all of that stuff. And I could actually come home from my long day of work and breathe. I didn't have to jump right into cleaning up and cooking and doing all of this I didn't have to do that.
Right.
So can you talk about, your life now in Kenya and what it's like to be able to have the option to not do everything?
Yeah. And the first, like you said, you couldn't take house help because when you come to Africa, like you really do have to leave your Western way of thinking back. You can't come with your African American experiences to Africa. So because when we come, it's like, nah, I don't need that girl cleaning up my house. I don't need
with that trauma.
It's almost like you feel like you're inflicting something on our brothers and sisters on the continent by using them as house help, right? And another thing I'm gonna tell you what we do, where we got to stop it. Like, that's all they charging? I'm giving that girl more than this. That's all they charge? No, you pay what they charge.
Yes.
Leave the Western way of thinking behind. You and stop thinking in dollars. You have to think in their currency. Because I'm telling you, if you come to the country, because you're gonna pay for it in other areas. But when you come to the country, I'm gonna pay this. I'm paying more. Okay, well, hopefully after the 2 months that you're able to stay here, because you're gonna have to go back home because you're gonna be out of money, right? Exactly. And so you got to shift. But anyway, so going back to the house help, listen. Africa has a better quality of life for us. In America, women do it all.
Everything.
You have to do everything, right? If anything, that part came from slavery.
Absolutely.
If anything. Because the women on the continent, especially those who work, most of them have house help.
Absolutely.
The women, because you cannot do it all. Like you said, you're expected to cook, clean, work 40 hours a week, pick up the children from school, help them with homework, and then you got to be on for your husband. Okay?
Girl.
So most women cannot do that. Do you know how many husband and wives arguing because he's like, we haven't had sex in 2 weeks, or we haven't had sex in a week. He frustrated. We haven't had sex in a week. We haven't had. There are more single people having more sex than married people.
Absolutely.
Because of the stress of it all. So it's a better quality of life. So I have my house help come Tuesdays and Thursdays as well. She cooked, she cleaned, she fixed my breakfast on the mornings that she come. Like, she washed my clothes, she hang my clothes, she does everything. The only thing I have to do is work and try to build my practice and transition and build new stuff. And I'm focused on work and building. You can focus. I am better for my clients because I have the help. My sister loves doing what she's doing. Because guess what? Guess what? Here in Africa, there is no Section 8. There is no EBT cards. Okay? So if they don't work, they don't eat.
They don't eat.
So in Kenya, it's probably like maybe 85-90% is domestic workers. This is how these people make their money. My house help, her children goes to boarding school. This is how she makes her money, right? And you have to remember what they charge us. It seems low to us, but they pay lower prices than what we do as foreigners in the country.
Right.
Okay. And so it's not demeaning for them.
Right.
They see this as making money and making a living to pay for their children. So if we come to the continent, we really do need to have, if we can afford to have house help, we need to have house help because it helps the economy.
It's giving a job,
You are providing jobs and it helps the economy and it can help you to focus. Now, one of the things that you can do, if your house help is open to it and they're good house help, hey, you ever thought about opening up an agency? Where you can refer house help? We can empower our brothers and sisters like that. Don't come trying to feed. This is my thing. Don't come saying, okay, I want to give charity to Africa. I want to give charity to my brothers and sisters, some rice, some beans. No, because what happens when the rice and the beans run out?
Exactly. And you ain't got no more money.
Right. So if they're good at you can partner with our brothers and sisters. Hey, we can start this cleaning business.
Exactly. And
do you see what I'm saying?
You know what? And I'm glad you said that because it made me think about, a lot of times when people think about investing in business in Africa, they think way out there when you could literally just start with house help. Y'all can
and your drivers.
The drivers, you can create an agency for drivers. It's so many ways we can help without giving charity.
Yes.
If you know that, this my house help is good. So if we get her started get her an agency started, and she'll know. She'll know that.
She can train the other, or you can do a training program because there's some house help, like some of the younger girls, so you either going to get off into like maybe some prostitution because that's here too.
Absolutely.
Right. So you can have a training program to train house help. And then as more of us start coming over, we can a tried and true house help who has been trained, we can refer them to an African-American family. So money can stay like that because there's too many, others who come to the continent to rape the continent. Well, we have an attachment here. We attach to the soil, to the land, we are spiritually connected to the continent. Everybody's not spiritually connected. So we're spiritually connected. So when we come, yes, we want to do business. We're doing all those things, but we also want to empower our brothers and sisters too.
Absolutely.
So when we come, it's really like we are really empowering the continent. That's why most of us need to come. When I was on the coast, they were surprised. They were saying, when I would talk to them, and after they talk to me, right, I have to tell them, because you have to, once they hear you speak, then they know you're not from there.
Right.
We fit in. You already know, we blend in here.
And so,
yeah, so they're like, oh, you from, and so when they hear my accent, they think, when I was on the coast, they said, you from Nairobi, because a lot of people from Nairobi develop this westernized accent too, like in news media and stuff like that. So you do have some of them that do that because they're more developed per se, right? And then some of them have gone to the UK or America to train, and then they come back. So on the coast, they're so used to not seeing African Americans where they thought I was from Nairobi. Because they're, when I tell them like, wow, y'all should come, because they're not used to seeing us and they want to see us.
Yeah, they do. They do.
So back to the quality of life, not only the house help, I don't drive anywhere. I have a driver, that takes me and these, I can't afford this in America.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But it's a normal way of life here. And it's a good quality of life here because everybody can live.
Absolutely. So what would you say to people who say, well, knowing you couldn't have that in America, why would you go to Africa and do something like that?
Because knowing I couldn't have it in America and I'm in Africa and I can have something like that. Because see, that's our because that's people's oppressive mindset.
Yeah.
See, that goes to show because they have that westernized way of thinking as if we're coming to Africa to misuse the people because we have house help. When they don't understand that's how these people make their money. So if I don't hire them as house help, what are they going to do?
What are they going to do? Yeah, what are they going to do? And many times they end up working for others and being mistreated.
Yes. Let me tell you, I had met an other when I was on the coast. And one of the things that and she was like a South African other. And this is how she do her black house help.
They the worst.
So she pays them very little. Right? But guess what she do? But when I go to the store, because she was trying to, call herself training me, right? On how to do it, how to do house help, right? You know how they, And so she said, well, I pay them very, very little. And she gives them on Fridays, she gives them a little thing of milk. And so they come looking for their milk on Fridays. Oh, the house help, the driver. Oh, Miss, I'm not going to say her name, Miss So-and-so. We just want to know if we can get our milk today. And so what happens is you have a lot of Kenyans that develop this loyalty towards others because others may give them milk or some bread or some of these other things, right? But we know that others have candy in one hand and poison in the other.
Absolutely.
But when we come, we're not
or they hugging you with this hand and stabbing you with the other one.
Yes. And so that's how that. So yeah. So we need to have house help. We're the main ones need to have it. Because we're the ones that can empower our brothers and sisters. And I've heard people say that, I ain't have house help in America, so I'm going to come to Africa and have house help. Because you come into Africa so that you can have a better quality of life. If it was done right in America, you could have stayed there. If everything was done right. And don't get me wrong. There are some Africans, they don't want to be house help. Some people do want more, right? And so I always have to really say that when I'm talking, I'm not saying all, because people get caught up like, well, it's not all. So I'm not saying all. And then there are some areas that's very, very impoverished. Here, even in Kenya, you have nice buildings and all those things, but you also have some very impoverished areas. And they need us because again, it's not the government is not going to these people's rescue. There is no 6-8, no EBT, no unemployment.
And like you said, a lot of people end up in prostitution because they need money. And
or you will see young African women with 80-year-old white men.
Absolutely.
So that's some things that you see, here on the continent too. So that's why we need to come back home.
We have to. Man, I really appreciate. I could talk to you all day.
I know. I love talking about this.
But I really appreciate you. Sharing your story with us, especially from the psychotherapist point of view, because I think too often that we don't consider the psychology of it. We don't understand, or we just think I'm just moving. I just want to move, and it's much deeper than that. It's much more to it than I'm just moving. And I really, really appreciate those of you who are professionals who love our people and love our people enough to say, you know what, even though I'm going to move, I'm going to take my practice and turn it into something that's going to really help our people in this journey also.
Yes.
Because we need y'all. When I get back to the continent, I'm probably going to have to get some services, because it's been like being here and being having to go back and forth. It's been taking it takes a toll on you. Like you said, once you taste freedom, it's hard to go. I be feeling like this may be what Harriet Tubman probably felt like having that into that all the time and hoping not to get caught or in my case get trapped here. And you know, I just thank y'all, man. I thank you so much. Yeah. I have my business partner has some business in Kenya, so I do hope to come to Kenya sometime soon. I gotta get my stuff in Ghana situated so that I can come to Kenya. But if you ever want to come back on here and just chop it up and share anything that you're doing as time goes on, I know you're going to be involved in other things that will be meaningful. Feel free to come back and share.
Yes, and you know, one of the things I'm gonna say, I'm happy to get with Dr. Sandra too, because we need to have a network for expats, like all of us come together, you know, because when families, I see so many families that's preparing to leave America and move abroad, and I think that they need to have therapy or coaching, you know, on that plan next to getting my passport, so that they can be mentally prepared when they come. But I'm gonna say another thing, and seriously, like people, there's so many videos out there, and we all have seen these videos of what life is like outside of America. And I just wish most of our people at least come to the continent to visit. America is falling.
Man, like a house of cards.
It's falling. And I know a lot of us feel like we can't do it, but listen, and I'll come back another time. We can talk about how you can make a living, you know, outside of America. But just at least visit, at least give it some thought to know that there is life outside of America. We feel like we're stuck and we can't go anywhere, or we feel like, oh, my ancestors died here and we helped build this country. But they did not come over. They didn't go to America on a cruise ship volunteering to build America. They were forced to build it. They were beaten. Okay?
Thank you.
They were killed. So they didn't do it voluntarily as if it was a business plan.
Right.
Okay. And when they were coming, they wanted to come back to Africa.
They did. They wanted to come home.
And so at least know that you have options.
Absolutely.
You need to know that you have options. Okay. Everybody's not going to move to Africa. Even if you're not led to leave America, you can do business in Africa.
Absolutely. And with you saying that, I can say this: there are so many of us who are setting up investment firms that allow for people to invest in Africa, and they still live here. You can stay here and invest in things in Africa. I myself I'm in agribusiness, and it's so many opportunities. I'm the director of agribusiness marketing for the Pan-African Chamber of Commerce here in Atlanta. And it's so many opportunities for investing for our people here. We need to create a bridge that allows us. We spend so much money. Why not, instead of spending so much money in this economy, why not build something else? We done built this.
Yeah, outside of it. Right, and that's my point. If we have built America, we can build Africa too. And we got 54 countries to choose, right?
54 countries to choose.
So, so we are fighting to sit at the table with white America in that one little country.
And you know what?
The continent is our home. Exactly. With 54 countries, with all those resources, we need to bring our resources here.
Exactly. And these people, I don't know why we think that these people are going to give this up without a fight.
They're not giving it up.
They're not giving this up. They are not giving it up. They stole it from the people who was here. They had us build it for free. And they are not giving up the wealth that they gained. I don't care how much.
It's not ever going to happen. It's never going to get better. Like how we think it is.
That's like me. If I ask you, I say to you, okay, Karen, you got 40,000 acres of land. You got that because your great grandparent had some slaves and did some really bad stuff or whatever. You ain't have nothing to do with that, but you benefiting from what your ancestors did. So since you say you down with the cause, are you going to give us them 40 acres or 40,000 acres? Are you going to give us that, give up what you gained from the systematic oppression and white supremacist things that your great grandparents did that you're benefiting from now? Are you going to give it up?
They're not.
I wouldn't. Right. I don't know that I would willingly give up my generational wealth to some other people just because they feel like I owe them.
That's why we need to come home.
Exactly.
That's why we need to come home.
Come home.
Yeah.
And even if we don't go to Africa,
right?
We got the Caribbean, we got South America, we got
Jamaica. And people always use an excuse like, well, the Chinese there, the Indians there, but
everywhere.
The Africans are still the majority.
Exactly. And the truth of the matter is, like one of my brothers from he's Ghanaian British. He said, how can we be mad at them for doing what we should be doing?
That's right.
If we don't do it, somebody has to do it.
That's why we have to come home.
And we know that we have architects, we have all kinds of craftsmen. When they went to Africa and got these people, they ain't still just anybody.
Oh, they got the best, the kings, the queens, the rulers. Yes. That's who we are.
I ask people, do you think that they had a training program when they brought us over here? And they taught us how to do the work? Did they teach us how to do the work, or did we already know how to do it? We already know how to farm rice and indigo and tobacco and cotton and sugar and all of these things were really strenuous work. We already knew how to do it because we was already doing it in Africa. We still grow these things in Africa.
Absolutely.
So why not say, you know what? Okay, my people did die. My people did go through all of it. Yep, we did. We did. And we can still feel it. For me, like you said, they wasn't fighting because they wanted to be here.
There was no business plan. They didn't have a business plan
and if that's the case,
to build America.
If that's the case, why didn't we just go ahead and just die on off then? We fought to live. We fought for survival. We fought for our life. And being a descendant of those who were able to survive. you need to know that you come from good stock.
We do.
Period.
Well, that's why we've been in the dark for so many, centuries about Africa, like the development of Africa. You'd be surprised. Like when I came here, there were so many white families on that plan moving here.
Absolutely.
And and they have been doing it for years. And so we don't understand that, like, but us as Black people, we have every reason in the world not to come to Africa. And you have other races who's flocking here because they know that Africa is the future. Absolutely. Like this is the motherland.
It's the last frontier.
The motherland. So yeah, and so I'm passionate about our people just really coming and knowing that there are options. I don't care which country it is. I don't care if it's Ghana, the Gambia, Tanzania, Namibia. I don't care.
I don't care either.
Just get over here. Just get over here and start building your life here. You know, one of my daughters, one of the things she said, you know, because she's coming and she's like, I'm not having a baby. I'm not birthing my first baby on American soil. And that's what I want. She said, I am not birthing my child on American soil.
Amen. I'm so happy to hear that, you know.
So so it's time for the shift. And I see so many millennials. Shout out to the millennials. Yes. Because I see so many millennials traveling. I know. Yes. I met up with lunch with about 3 of them passing through.
Wow.
Yes. Millennials are traveling. So yeah.
I think there's a shift. There's a real shift happening. And with shifts, some people will just have to catch up later, and that's fine. For those of y'all who is on your heart, is on your spirit, you, like I said, y'all now have access to therapists who are helping to get our mind right and our spirit right for this move. Reach out. I'll be putting your links in our description. Okay. For those of you all who want to get in contact with Karen in Kenya. Miss Karen, if you would give them your contact information one more time, and you can close us out with a word of inspiration or encouragement. So I done had you a long time now.
That's okay. So my website is infinity8llc.com. That's infinity, EIGHT 8llc.com. My Patreon, my Patreon is fairly new. I'm just bringing it up because all those videos that you've seen, I'm moving all of that stuff over to Patreon. Okay. And so it's Patreon, The God Is Within. That's my Patreon, The God Is Within, and also that's my Facebook, The God Is Within as well. So you can put those links there. But I want to encourage, all of you, like, listen, I don't care about your socioeconomic background. I don't care where you came from. I don't care who your mom is, your daddy is. If I'm in Africa, you can come too. Absolutely. If I am in Africa, you can come. You don't have to be rich. You don't have to have all this money. You don't have to be big baller shot caller, right? I want to encourage you to do your research, right? If you can get you an online gig, I don't care if your online gig is making $10 an hour, you can make it in Africa. Do your research. I want to encourage you. Your brothers and sisters here on the continent, they want you here. Yeah. They want to see you. They want you back home on the continent. So I want to encourage each and every one of you. You can do it. You can do it. Listen, you can get you an online job. I hear people saying all the time, don't look for jobs in Africa and that sort of thing. But let me tell y'all this, especially in Kenya, if you got to get you a job here to transition, there's the UN here. Mm-hmm. There's governmental agencies here. Yep. Another thing you can do, you can teach English online. You don't even have to have a degree. You don't even have to be a teacher, right? Yep. You can teach English online. You can work for the UN. You can work for a non-government agency. If your way here has to be coming through, working for a company until you get adjusted, go that route.
Yep.
If you are young and you get ready to go to college, look at going to college abroad. There's the University of Kenya here. There's an American International University here in Kenya, right? And there's universities in other countries. Look at going to school abroad, okay? So there's something for everyone. And I want to encourage my seniors and those who are on fixed income. If you are bringing in at least $2,000 a month, I don't care if it's a Social Security check or whatever it is, you are the top tier of
Absolutely.
making it in Africa.
Absolutely.
You're the top tier.
Yep.
Because if you are a senior and you're making at least $2,000 a month, you can get a K visa in Kenya and stay here forever, get your residency. All you got to do is prove that you got $2,000 a month coming in. If you somebody who have rental property and you want to come, and you just show that you got $2,000 a month coming in from your rental property, or you have a pension, or you have any type of retirement. So I want to encourage everyone who's listening to me. There is something for everyone here on the continent. You can do it. I'm not rich. I work, but I'm not rich. I'm not big baller shot caller.
Yeah.
Well, I am here. I'm big because I am here. I wasn't in there, but I am here. But yeah, so I do. I really want to encourage everyone, please, I want you here. If y'all in any of your viewers, if they have any questions or anything like that, hit me up. Just hit me up. My email is karensmith@infinityallc.com. So you'll see my email also. I have two different emails on my website. So yes. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It has been my pleasure talking to you. I can't wait to talk to you again. Yes. I actually was talking with Sanjay about possibly having maybe a panel of the psychologists and psychiatrists on to just talk about how the mental, spiritual, and physical work of it that we can do before we leave, and even once we get there, how you all can help us to make the transition better and make adjusting to our new lives better. So again, I thank you. Thank you, Sanjay, Dr. Sanjay, for your connecting us. And I look forward. I really look forward to seeing all of the great things that both of you all will do on opposite ends of the continent. I know. We got one in West Africa. We got one in East Africa. We're gonna get some more because y'all need. I know y'all gonna need some help with all of these people that's gonna flood the continent. So thank you so much, and I look forward to talking to you again. And you have a wonderful rest of the evening.
You too. Thank you. Bless you. Bye.